Okay, so welcome to another deep dive, and today we are going
Sounds good.
to tackle a political mystery that has captivated historians and honestly, like anybody who loves a good conspiracy theory,
Oh, yeah.
for decades and
Yeah,
decades.
definitely.
As the October surprise,
Ooh,
we have a ton of articles and research ready to go. I'm
awesome.
very excited to unpack this one with you.
Let's do it.
Um, and to understand it all, I think we kind of have to rewind back to like the late 1970s.
Okay, so back to the late 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the backdrop for this whole story is the Iranian hostage crisis.
Okay.
It all started in November of 1979 when 52 American diplomats and citizens were taken hostage at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran.
Right, and this wasn't like just any hostage situation.
Oh, no, no, no.
This was
major.
a big deal.
It dominated Jimmy Carter's presidency,
Right.
and it became like the biggest issue in the 1980 election.
Right, because that election was Carter versus Reagan.
Exactly.
So how does this hostage crisis play into this whole October surprise theory?
Okay, so here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The hostages were finally released on January 20, 1981,
Okay.
literally minutes after Ronald Reagan was sworn in as president.
Oh, wow. Talk about timing.
Yeah.
That alone is suspicious, right?
It's definitely raised eyebrows ever since. And that's kind of where this whole October surprise theory comes in.
Okay.
The theory is that members of Reagan's campaign,
Okay.
including William Casey,
Who later became CIA director.
exactly,
Okay.
made a secret deal with Iran.
Okay, so what did this alleged deal involve?
So the theory goes that the Reagan team basically promised Iran favorable treatment,
Okay.
including arms sales,
Whoa, hold on.
in exchange for delaying the hostage release.
Arms sales to Iran.
Yeah,
That's a huge accusation.
yeah.
What evidence is there to even support this?
So journalist Gary Sick, you might have heard of him?
Yeah, he served on Carter's National Security Council.
Yeah, exactly. He served on Carter's National Security Council.
And I think he even wrote a book about this.
He did. He wrote a really compelling book.
I read somewhere that he presented evidence of, like, financial transactions that
Yeah.
might be linked to these alleged meetings.
Uh-huh.
Was he able to prove that any of this was connected to the hostage release?
So Sick's findings were definitely really compelling.
Okay.
But I think the most substantial investigation into this whole October surprise theory came in 1992,
Okay.
when Congress launched a full-blown inquiry.
Okay. What did the congressional investigation conclude?
Well, after months of hearings and reviewing a ton of documents,
Yeah.
they stated that there was no conclusive evidence
Okay.
to support these claims.
So case closed.
Not so fast.
Oh, really?
While they didn't find a smoking gun.
Right.
The investigation itself has been criticized.
Okay.
Some believe that crucial records remained classified,
Okay.
and certain key witnesses just weren't interviewed.
Interesting.
Plus, William Casey, a central figure in all of this, died in 1987.
Right, so he couldn't really testify or anything. Okay, so it sounds like there is still some, like, unanswered questions here.
Yeah, definitely.
What about those unaccounted for periods of time that we talked about earlier
Right.
with William Casey's whereabouts?
Yeah, so Casey's movements during these key periods in 1980
Right.
are still shrouded in mystery.
Okay.
We don't know for sure where he was or who he might have met with.
This whole situation is honestly really unsettling
I agree.
because if this theory is true,
Right.
we are talking about a potential violation of the Logan Act,
Absolutely.
which prohibits private citizens from negotiating with foreign governments.
That's a big no-no.
And more importantly, it would mean that a U.S. presidential election was potentially manipulated.
A huge deal, potentially manipulated. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that is a really big deal.
If the October surprise really happened,
Yeah.
it would be one of the most significant political scandals in American history.
Wow.
It would mean that a foreign power had interfered with our democratic process.
Which is crazy.
That's a lot to think about.
It really is mind-blowing to think about the implications of all of this.
Yeah.
Even if there wasn't like a concrete deal made,
Right.
the mere rumor of these negotiations could have impacted Iran's decisions.
Exactly. The power of information, even misinformation,
Right.
it can be immense.
It's true.
Well-
So where does all of this leave us?
That's the question, isn't it?
We might never have definitive proof of what truly transpired.
Right.
But this deep dive into the October surprise theory has been honestly really eye-opening for me.
I agree.
It raises some really important questions about transparency in government,
Yeah.
the potential for backroom dealings,
Uh-huh.
and the power of information
Iguan.
in shaping global events.
Absolutely.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
It really makes you think.
It really does make you think.
Like if something like this could potentially happen,
Yeah.
what other secret negotiations or agreements might be out there?
Right. What else don't we know about
Right.
the inner workings of power?
Yeah,
It's unsettling.
it really is.
It's a lot to think about.
It is.
Uh,
Thanks for joining us.
For sure. Thanks for being here.
Of course.
I've learned a lot.
Me too.
I'm sure our listeners have to.
I hope so.
Okay. Okay.
See you next time.
See ya.